Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel if you're a regular, and if you're new here, then welcome. We are the Candid Book Club, and I'll do a quick intro. This is Mimi, Jess, I'm Oma, Tanya, and Linda. So today we're going to be talking about reader's block. So guys, I know we've all experienced reader's block at one time or another. Probably happens a bit more often to me. We're huge, obviously, book lovers. We read all the time. We get sent so many free books. We buy them, all of that. But there's just some points where I just cannot bear to pick up a book and I just do not have the concentration for it. So today I thought we'd talk about the things that we do to try and combat reader's block. So I think we had a couple of ideas, but one good example of how to combat reader's block would be reading short stories. So Jess.
Yeah, that's always been my trick, I have to say. When I can't be faced with a huge book, one little story all in one go, I try to break it down. So short stories have always been the way to go for me. And a recent set of short stories that actually helped me through reader's block was actually Things We Do Not Tell the People We Love by Qureshi. It's excellent, and I recommend it to all of you if you have reader's block. It's perfect to just sit and work through a really short story, just a little snapshot, and try and get your creative imagination going again to prep you for the big tomes that you've got sitting on your TBR list. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I think Qureshi's was one of the first short story collections that I ever read. And it made me think, why don't I read more short stories? Because I feel like she really jumped into the juiciest part of a story. There's no preamble. You just get straight in, and then she just leaves you just wanting more. And it's frustrating, but in the best way, because it's just, oh my God, what did I just read? And there were some that resonate more with you than others, but really, really loved it. And it's all about miscommunication and just saying the things that we should, that we don't. So,
I agree, because I've read a short story that Jess recommended to us. And after that, I was like, I'm done. I don't like short stories. And then Homer's book came out, and I was like, actually, I don't mind them. I do want more, but I like the little snippets that we got throughout them. Yeah. It's also okay to just stop and start.
Yeah.
With a longer novel, you might lose your train of thought.
Yes.
Yeah. Very hard to get into. Whereas with short story collection, it's not that deep. You just leave it and come back. So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's binge on short stories. Binge on short stories. Do we ever binge on short stories? I don't think so. No. They're difficult to binge, because it's not like watching a TV show where it's just a continuation of the same thing and you're kind of trying to keep going because you're trying to find out what happens. It's so distinct and so separate every time that actually it's not something you're really going to binge readily, I don't think, unless you get carried away because it unblocks your reader's block, in which case, why not?
Yeah. But I think they're really good because you can just read one, and it's usually about the size of a chapter, and then you can just mark it, either go to bed or stop it and do whatever else you need to do. So I think that's a really, really good way of working through reader's block. Any other ideas?
I like to reread books that I really enjoyed.
Yes.
Obviously it's going to be a romance book for me. So something that I know that I've read and really enjoyed helps me get out of my reader's block, and then I can pick something up. Also, I feel like long journeys help. Before I started working, I felt like I just couldn't pick up a book. But I had an 1.5-hour journey to work and back, and I read 3 books in 3 weeks. So I think that's a really good way. Not that you just go on a long journey anyway, but
when it's traveling, a lot of people found that since they're not traveling as much for work anymore, if they're working from home, they're not getting the opportunity to read as much as they previously would have.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that I now try to take bus journeys more than train journeys, because I know that I'm just sitting there and I don't have to worry about stops and changing lines and things like that. And it gives me a solid hour to just read.
Yeah. I'm like you. I now, for the last few years, I've been working from home, so I don't have that commute. So I really need to carve out that time for me to read.
Yeah.
And separate my day instead of being in my room. And then I need to go downstairs and change scenery to read. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So I found that I've read less. But I think for me, in terms of reader's block, I just take a break. There's no shame in not reading. Do you know what I mean? If you just can't face it or you're not feeling it. Yeah, sometimes I don't read for weeks at a time, which is not ideal. I do crave it after a while, but it's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no shame in it. I also think it's really important that if you're not enjoying what you're reading, just don't power through.
Yeah.
There is this kind of, I think that causes me reader's block more than anything else, is when I'm reading something and I just think I have to finish it.
Yeah.
You don't have to finish it. No one's judging you, not even your Goodreads shelf. So dash it and get over it. But the other thing that I really enjoy doing when I get a bit of reader's block is audiobooks instead, especially kind of memoirs when it's read by the author. It just helps re-engage me slightly with experiencing a story. So sometimes getting a really good book on an audio version, either Spotify, Audible, whatever it is always a really, really good way of getting over that I can't physically get through a page.
Yeah. And I think with what you mentioned about like basically not finishing a book that you're not getting on with, I think we've sort of had this discussion before where sometimes you just need to be in a certain mental frame to read or appreciate a book. And if you feel like you're just not there, it is better to just maybe just put it to the side, reread something that you previously enjoyed, take a short story, do an Audible, or just have a break. And then when you go back, you realize that actually this is really, really good. And I'm glad I didn't just dash it. And I found sometimes that if I skim read the first chapter, if I'm finding it hard, like something that's been recommended to me, if I just skim read the beginning and then it helps me get straight in, and then I'm like, can't put it down. So I think that's a really good tip as well.
Yeah, I've definitely done that. I can definitely vouch for that one.
Yeah. I think especially when like there's a lot of descriptions and stuff, sometimes that can feel really heavy. So I'll just sort of skim and then get to the conversation bit and read that, and then I'm engaged.
I have to say though that like I feel like reading a book shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to be in the mental state for it, or like in the right place or whatever. But if it's just not vibing with you, like it's not by force.
Yeah.
Like unless you're reading this for like an academic research project, like it's just time to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are your tips for getting through reader's block? Do let us know in the comments below, and please do not forget to subscribe, like our videos, our previous videos, hopefully our future ones too. So hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Bye.